Well, we're live, I think, if I'm just looking on the old YouTube. Welcome to a live stream, which has at the moment four of us that went. Oh, hang on, I'm playing my back, playing myself back. I'm playing myself back. Hang on. Yeah, there you go, that's better. We've got four of the people that attended, four creators that attended the YouTube day. We've got James, the model officer, we've got Plastic Alchemist, Model Minutes, and myself. And we're just going to have a little chat and a little discussion on the day. So just to, and I think Plastic Alchemist there has actually got some of the weather impacts that we were given by Humbrol. Is that correct?
Yes, indeed it is. This is the
Are they
aging
going?
one.
Yeah.
And this is the weathering one. That's the one I'm using at the moment.
How are you finding them?
They are a very fine powder and very easy to work with them. So yeah, I'm quite pleased with them, to be honest with you, and easy to remove them if you need. So yeah, I don't know if you guys can see, but
that's looking pretty.
They are settling all right. So yeah, I'm fairly happy with them.
You're very happy. Look at that. That's looking pretty smart, isn't it? Yeah, look at that.
Yeah. Even the paints, I've been testing them and they seem fairly good. So not over the moon with them, but yeah, they seem fairly goodish.
Well, it's only Gen 2, isn't it? We've got Gen 3 to come.
Yeah.
So let's so basically any questions, put them in the chat and we'll try to answer them. But first off, Matt, model minutes. How did you feel the day went? How did you feel the day went?
Well, didn't really know what to expect when we started off. It was kind of like, well, we sort of had an itinerary, but I wasn't entirely sure what was going on. So a bit apprehensive to start off with. And then we had a few briefs or presentations, and they showed us a few things. And then we had some lunch, and then we had time to do our own individual things. So other people did some stuff, and I went off and did like my own thing, making Sprue Talk episodes and stuff. Yeah, and then at the end we got stuff given to us. We got some freebies, which was nice. I wasn't expecting as much as we got. On the whole, it was a long day, but I don't feel like one day was enough to get through everything that they wanted to show us and everything that we wanted to do. Like, I wanted to go to the Hornby Centre, the experience thing, you walk through the heritage bit. And they were like, well, we haven't factored that in. I was like, well, why haven't you factored that in? Doesn't that seem like something that I've come all this way to Margate to do this, and also you're not giving me time to go to your shop or go around your thing? And they were like, well, we can factor it in. It just might mean you miss doing something else, or you have less time to do something else. It's like, that's fine. Let's do it. So on the whole, it was good. Don't get me wrong, it was tiring, all that driving and stuff. But yeah, it was a good experience.
You went up the day before as well, didn't you? And experienced all that was glorious of Margate.
Oh yeah, Margate. Yeah.
If this is hell, you'll have to like Margate.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, it's not that bad.
It's not that bad. What are you guys are moaning about?
James, model officer, how did you experience? How was your experience of the day? Did you enjoy it?
Well, I got to be honest with you. I'm very, very fortunate in the fact that it is my second visit. I do a podcast called Just Making Conversation with Malcolm Child. So we had been invited down for Sprue Talk session. So some of it we'd done before, or I'd done before. However, with that said, when we were given the invitation, I was very apprehensive about it all because I wasn't sure. Obviously, we didn't know who else had been invited. And I felt almost cheeky at the fact that I'd been invited anyway. But so yeah, it was a lot of apprehension and getting there. I got there super early, so Dale was very good in the fact that he brought me a cup of coffee out in the car park at 7:30 in the morning.
Wow!
And then obviously some of the guys started turning up and we had a chat and blah blah. And it was a really enjoyable day. Really, really, it was long. Don't get me wrong. A lot of stuff crammed into a very short space of time, but again, even the stuff that was crammed in, we had a rough idea what was going to happen, but didn't really know. And I think to a point, it's the same with Airfix. They, it's the first one they've done. So, suck it and see sort of thing, wasn't it, really? But yeah, it was really good, really informative. The guys that were there, a good mix of guys, R&D. You've got someone who does the instructions, Richard. You've got the designers, you've got the brand, you've got guys from Humbrol, which I didn't expect that at all.
No.
So yeah, it was a really good mix, a lot of information. And in fact, to be honest, even now while I'm editing stuff for the videos and stuff, I'm still picking things up that I clearly missed on the day. So yeah, it was a great experience. It really was. I really enjoyed it.
Brilliant. Solly, you weren't able to attend, were you? You were quite away. You had other things on the go, didn't you, at the time? Is Solly gone, is he?
Possibly.
What's going on? Yeah, I can hear you now.
Sorry, I'm having a few audio issues. I was a bit gutted actually. Because unfortunately it's house issues. So I had to go viewing houses and sort all that out. So it's been a bit of a nightmare. So I was really gutted. Got to miss it. Like the missus did say, "What didn't you say?" I was like, "What if I said that?" They got me because, But yeah, it's one of those things. Really gutted, but it's good. It's good that they start. Well, hopefully it'll be a regular thing for them to do. I think because I finally managed to watch your video. The last one you've done, what was it, about the 3D modelling and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I felt just by watching that, actually, they gave a lot more information than I think what they normally give. What we normally see like on social medias and stuff, even some of their videos. So I just think that was probably more informative, even though obviously I've only seen bits of what some of you guys have posted. But I got more information out of that than I think I've ever have out of anything else that they've usually popped out.
Yeah. See, I didn't go there just to film stuff for my channel per se. I actually just went there because there's nothing worse than not having the information. So, we've all had questions about the Airfix brand, the Humbrol brand, what's the future? And ultimately, nothing was off limits in the rooms that we were allowed. We could film wherever we want. They told us about the 5-year plan with the starter sets. And I thought it was quite funny that a lot of us in the room had done the starter set challenge. So we know the ins and outs of the issues that they have with the starter sets. But ultimately, I think this year is strong. And I was talking to Ethan, one of the junior designers, lovely guy. He thinks that this year is one of their strongest years for releases. The amount of stuff that they've put out in the last 2 years, especially this year, is very, very strong. You've got the KT ambulance, haven't you? You've got the Anson, the Buccaneer, 3 starter sets, which basically put, if you think about it, there's 7 starter sets now that are fresh tooled with incredible instructions with tips. For a model company, 7 releases, 7 starter sets through the market. I think, we should give a round of applause to them guys for doing it. And like they said, you may find next year will be not as strong, but there are other things in the works, isn't it? Every year they're looking to improve on what they've done previously.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to finding out what they're going to put in the supermarket. Because he said that they were going to put something different in this year, didn't they?
Yeah.
I think as we were talking before you went live, and model kit stuff says about it in the chat there, about the ambulance being last year's release and its delay. I think that's something in which it's not really in there necessarily within their control with the way the world's gone over the last 12 months. But I think it's something in which they're very, very conscious of. And if they, from my personal point of view, is if they can say we're going to release this and be a lot more confident that it's going to hit the market at a particular time, I think that would really make a massive difference to the Airfix brand. Because we as modelers, we slate them a lot. And I don't think it's all justified, if I'm honest.
It's not.
But we all do whinge about it. But if they can just tick that box I think that would really improve the general community's feeling towards Airfix, as well as all the new tools and stuff they're doing, because they have jumped so far in a short space of time, really, to create models that are almost, let's face it, they're almost Tamiya shaking her bucks model, aren't they? Which that isn't the reputation that I've known Airfix for most of the years I've been modeling. So I think that they're certainly very, very focused, and like you say, that the problem with it being, as Dale has said quite often, is that the problem is he's thinking 2, 3 years, 5 years in advance. So he's aware of what's coming. He knows the differences that are going to make to the modeler, but obviously you can't necessarily say right now what that is.
Yeah, and this is the thing. Just to build on that, because I had a conversation with Paramjit, and he's like 2 models ahead. Like what's being released now, he's not. That's done. That's old news to him. He's finished with that. So you look at that and you think to yourself, that's amazing, but this and this could have been improved. And he already knows that because he's already implementing those changes now to kits that are going to be released in the next 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
But if you allow me to add on James as well, the perception of the brand on the market needs to come from us as well. So they can put all these smart designs on it. They can put all these smart strategies and all these plans ahead and everything. But if we don't praise the brand as it should, or if we don't show how it is, the perception is always going to be the same, because there's no one showing how good they are at the moment. And I think it has to come from us modelers and YouTubers, Twitchers, influencers on Instagram, whatever we do, to say, yeah, this is the standard of Airfix now. This is what they are aiming to. This is what we're going to get in the future with Airfix. And I think that's going to be the biggest challenge, is to pass the message of all their hard work that they are doing in the office to the community.
Yeah,
I think
because like I said before starting, the brand has always been looked as the ugly duck of the scale modelers.
Yeah, I think that Airfix bashing is a national pastime.
Yeah,
we're English. We bash everything.
Absolutely, guys. I'm ever so sorry. I'm just going to step out a minute. I've got to take my wife to work. I really apologise. I'll get back as soon as I can.
Bye.
Yeah, so in my recent video where I did my vlog, we went away, I've had quite a lot of, it's not negative comments about my video, but it's negative comments about Airfix. And it's very much like, I'm cross with Airfix because they haven't made this specific model in this specific scale. And the last kit I built from them was something that was tooled back in the 1950s. So I'm never going to build anything for them again. And it's like, well, you haven't seen anything that they've made recently. You haven't even tried anything that they've made recently. Yeah, and you're not interested in trying anything unless they make that very obscure subject in that very obscure scale. And like I said, they're not going to do everything, are they? Because they've got to make a profit at the end of the day. So
absolutely,
that's not going to sell. Well, your model that you want, and only probably 5 of you are going to build it or buy it, it's not going to sell. So they're going to have to pick something that is going to sell. So if that one customer changes their mind and doesn't want to join in, then I suppose Airfix isn't really missing out on your custom, because your customers never come in anyway.
Yeah.
Like I was saying before we start the stream, I have people that follow me that I keep saying, try Airfix. And the concept is, no, they are rubbish. No, this, or that, or that. And when people actually try one of the new stuff, they actually change their mind and go, well, actually, they are really good. They change. They are doing better stuff. So I think it's come from us to ingrain the message and say, no, mate, there is a change. That they are being proactive instead of being reactive and trying to make stuff better.
Absolutely. You know, the thing is with the whole Airfix bashing thing is that as I said, I think it's a national sport that we bash our own. You know, it's it's clearly the way that we're ingrained to do it. But at the end of the day, if you actually look at the past, I know since 2019, even 2018, there's been this push to be up there to improve the branding, to improve the model. Sorry, not the brand, but to improve the models and to say, look, this is what we're doing. You know, we're using equipment, 3D scanning equipment, to make it as accurate as possible on the look. So the inside is here or there, isn't it? You know, because some people like the interior, some people don't. And then you also got the fact is that what they can do with that kit. So if they bring out, say, a Spitfire that isn't to your liking, hasn't got the same schemes, or you know, or it hasn't got floats because you want to do a float plane version of it, they will come down further down the line because they can re-release it with different decals, different added extras, and they design the tooling to allow for that. Now, as I said, I got somebody who said, "Well, if they were that thing about the Spitfire, why have they never built a Gracie?" Well, the Gracie is 2-seater, isn't it? Spitfire. It's, you know, you can fly in. That's what I believe. If you really want to build a Gracie, you can buy and you can adapt that Spitfire, you know, by buying the resin parts and that and the extra canopy to build that yourself. You don't need Airfix to release a complete kit, which will be a one design only, because, you know, you can't really make the Spitfire into a 2-seater easily, can you? And just use that tool once. You know, tools are very expensive to make, and the process of actually getting to the point of getting that tool into that position, and that's why I think that's one of the most difficult that they've got, deciding what kit to do next, apart from Spitfire, obviously.
It's a complete risk, isn't it? Absolute
It
complete
is.
risk. Because you could
Nothing
do
to
market
say.
research.
Your sound's
Really?
bad, Sully. All right.
Sorry.
Are you underwater?
Yeah.
No,
Your sound's bad, Sully.
Good, more fun.
Have you got headphones in?
It's either the fun. Yeah, it's either that or the bad internet connection. It's one of the two. Can you hear me any better?
Mm.
You need to feed the hamster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. As I said, when they put that list up about picking, you know, picking the what's it called, the what to do,
Subject
you know,
matter.
risk and reward, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, gaps in the market. You know, you know, they're saying here, you know, examples. There's, you know, how they pick them is lack of competition, British subject. You know, there's all these different reasons of why they would build a particular model, and obviously previous sales and aircraft notoriety, you know, things like that. You know, it is risk and reward for a lot of it, and they do have the rule breakers as well, which will, you know, I think the KT is a rule breaker. The ambulance, I think that's
It's a standalone sort of product, isn't it?
It is,
Yeah.
yeah.
I like that Swift though. The Swift, I've got one in the stash. It looks really nice.
Which one was that? Sorry.
The Swift down the bottom right.
Yeah.
It's a lovely looking kit, and I've been trying. I want to build it, and I want to build it like now, but I feel like my skill level isn't quite good enough to do it justice. So if I give it a little bit of time and get some practice in, then in the future it'll be a better build, because it looks lovely.
It's lovely, and the Walrus as well is on my bucket list to get it.
I'm not going to do the Walrus because of the rigging, and I hate rigging.
Yeah, rigging,
I love rigging. Rigging is absolutely fantastic, man.
It looks beautiful, and obviously that's risk versus reward again, isn't it? I just find rigging so boring.
It's all in your head, mate. It's all in your head.
It is in my head, you're correct.
Once you started, you're going to be like, oh, this is so easy.
Yeah, I just need to get some better stuff, I think, for that. I need to get some better glue and some better rigging materials.
Either that or we end up with a Walrus on the bin, but yeah, that's...
Yeah.
Make an interesting diorama, yeah.
Yeah, but I think where the Airfix is doing great, and I praise them for that, is having such great models at such affordable price. I know that Spitfire, the Buccaneer, and the Anson are going to be a bit pricey, and people are already, oh yeah, but Airfix should stick to their budget line and to their budget, but it's quality. You have quality in there. You pay a lot more for a Tamiya kit. So why are you moaning about Airfix charging you 50 quid for a model that will have quality? And again, it's the misconception that Tamiya is great and everyone else is rubbish. But again, it's a hard one.
Common misconception, isn't it?
Yeah, it's hard to demystify. It's like an urban myth, to say the least. at the moment.
I think though, being there on the day, and I'm very fortunate. I'm very grateful for Airfix to give us this opportunity. I came away thinking that with the likes of Dale coming on board, with Brooke, I think they've got 5 designers now, if I'm right. Is it 5, including Ethan?
Yeah.
You know what, right? That's a between them all, Airfix is in safe hands. And if you really, I think if you really do want to see if Airfix have moved forwards in the past 5 years, then just buy a kit from the last 5 years, and I think you will be pleasantly surprised. And and I think they're pushing so hard to get more kits out. 5 designers. All right, another 1/24th scale spit, Mark 9, take 2.5 years development, and also, believe it or not, they're not even just using their own design. Well, they're not even just using their own factories now in India. They've actually got a deal with Academy now to the designers go and sort out the design, the research on a tooling, and then get Academy to build that tooling and release it exclusively for Airfix. So I think that's a win-win all around.
Yeah, it's good, for sure. And what I like it to see, and I think that's where their winning formula is that they still have the old knowledge from Matt. I think it's Matt that designed the Anson, and the person from the I'm rubbish with names. I do apologize. Yeah. I can't remember all of them, and then bringing people like Brooke and Dale that are young and they are up with the tendencies on social media and all of things, and you can see that the growth of Airfix on social media has been crazy. It's going through the roof, and that combination of knowledge from the old ones and the new technologies from the youngsters, I think is absolutely brilliant. I think it was a master game for them, and a touch of genius.
Absolutely. That's Sully with his feedback on his phone.
Bless him.
Is it still bad?
It is quite bad, mate. Yeah.
All right, I'll switch back to the other one. Oh, I'll tell you what. I'll just do it that their phone.
I'll mute you a minute. As I said, we've just seen some amazing toolings. We've the Buccaneer, believe it or not, looks fantastic, doesn't it? And I think that's one. I noticed it's 140. There's a lot of 148. So you've got the Anson as well. It's Anson's 148, isn't it?
Yeah, everything's both have
148. Now that will be the most detailed kit they've ever done, because there's so much glass in the actual fuselage and cockpit. You're going to get to see quite a bit, and they've designed it that way as well, haven't they?
Yeah. Well, I had a chat with the designer, and I realised now when I look back at my footage that he actually told us about the machine guns inside of the cabin, and I must have zoned out at that point because I didn't take it in. So I had a chat with him afterwards, and I was like, "Look, I've just picked up this Anson test shot here, and I've noticed that there are a couple of like Lewis machine guns inside the cabin." So I presume one is sticking out of one window and one is sticking out the other. And he said, "Oh yeah." So there was that was a field modification that squadron made to their Anson, so that if it came under fire, they could return and sort of surprise the enemy. And apparently, this was the Anson that they put in the box art. Was they actually achieved a couple of kills, I think it was. So I was like, that's insane. And then on the screen there, you've got the internal areas. Yeah. And I said to the designer, so your little lamp there that you've got on the little desk, in real life, would the wires for the light bulb be on the inside of the lamp arm, or would they be like attached like a string on the outside? And he said, that is a good question. And I'm led to believe, but I don't know 100%, that they will round the outside. And I was like, well, then that's brilliant, because you could potentially add a small, tiny little LED or fiber optics into that and actually have it light up. And he was like, yeah, I really hope someone does.
Yeah. But I said, the actual, like I said, the interior there, just the lamp itself just shows you the detail that they've gone into this kit, and it is going to be the most for interior, it's going to be one of the best models out there. And seeing the shots and everything of the tooling, seeing it laid out in front of us, the sprues, it was just phenomenal. There was piece upon piece upon piece. And I asked a question about the gun turret. I said, "Is that one piece glass?" He goes, "No, it's 3-piece, but it's not movable. Once you've fixed it, you've got to fix it in place. You can't make it movable, which is a shame." But other than that, just the detail of it all just looks, for 1 to 48 scale, you would expect this sort of detail in the 124. Listen, you've got it in 148 now, haven't you? It's fantastic.
And it's without having to go aftermarket as well.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you could add extra stuff if you wanted to, but like as a basic model, as this is like the basic standard that it comes out of the box, it's insane.
I shared the pictures of the Spitfire on the British Aviation in Scale, and everybody was saying that, oh, we don't need the aftermarket for that. It's absolutely fantastic as it is. So
yeah,
I think they just upped the game so much that it's going to be hard to keep up. I'm just wondering what they're going to top up that with, because the Anson is absolutely brilliant. Buccaneer has been designed brilliantly. The Spitfire coming around is an insane amount of detail. So how are they going to top that up? That's my main question now. And that's what's been bugging me since that day is, how are they going to top up these three? It just seems almost impossible, I don't know. It might be just me, but
you don't think they can beat what they've done?
I have no doubt on my mind that they can beat it, because the guys breathe and Airfix, and the guys breathe research and designing and all the things. You can see the passion on them. My question is, how are they going to top up? What is going to come up? What are they going to come up with to top up these? Because we are wowed by these ones. What are they going to bring to the tables to wow us even further?
And do you know what? I'm just going to look at this, right? And this is 47 quid from the Airfix site. This kit, it's under 50 quid, right?
Yeah.
There's 175 parts, and they give you choices, like even the engine cowlings. You can either have the smooth, or you can have the bubble effect. Like what they call that now.
Blister.
So the cow, around the NASA, you can have, there's two options for that as well. You can either have the original, or you can do the upgraded version, which is what I'm showing you now on the screen. They've thought about it, so well. Like I said, that glass goes right away halfway down the fuselage, so you can imagine, all those who like doing the interior. There's a lot to do in this kit. If you really want to go for it, you can. It's amazing. It's an amazing kit,
No,
I don't know what I'm more surprised about now is the detail of it, how much it actually costs, because I thought it was going to be more than that.
It says £46 on the website.
That's really, I think that's, for the way this looks and what I've seen of it, which is pretty much what you're showing here, I think that's amazing value. I think that is. Because I reckon if that was somebody like maybe, I don't know, probably Tammy or Edard, I'd reckon you'd be pushing close to the 70 or maybe 90 quid mark, I reckon. Myself, but that's absolutely amazing, that is. That's one I'd like to do myself, to be honest with you. The Anson's a lovely aircraft as well.
Yeah.
Do you think they factored in a civil version without the turret and the gun?
Oh, well, that'd be the second kit down, wouldn't it? Like,
the civil version actually is a slightly different shape. If we're getting all nerdy about it.
Oh well, yeah.
I thought,
but it's not far off, to be fair. But
this one's got the smooth, and on the NASA, it's smooth cowling, isn't it? A smooth. Look at that one. That's that design. So you got a choice. And I was just, the tool in itself. They showed us pictures of the mode design. You look at this, it's like, it's like a rainbow effect of colors, isn't it? But they've got duplicate parts, optional prep. There's so much in the tooling itself. But as I said, it's under 50 quid. Even showing you where they're going to put the feed gates are and where the injector pins are going. They've thought about it so much, and there's the tooling as it is. Phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal.
I think one thing I'd love to know, I've it's probably out there somewhere, but it's how they decide on what bits are going to be in what parts. If that makes, do you know what I mean? How do you break? How do you design? How do you think to break it up to make it to mold and then to put it as a piece? Because it's just mind blowing the way they do it. I think it's absolutely amazing, especially the framing. This is going to be it.
Well, the framing inside. Go on.
Are you asking how they display? How they put the pieces on the sprue?
Yeah, just how they figure out what is going to be what type of piece. Do you know what I mean? I'm not explaining myself well, but
it's like military engineering, isn't it? How does everything fit together, and what bit do I need to have in order to get it to fit together as a part?
Yeah, like
we're so fortunate that we get a part, we get the instructions, we get all of the bits given to us in the box, and we just have to put it together. Someone else has had to sit down and disassemble a real life aircraft or tank or ship or whatever, then turn it into parts that can be molded, then turn it into parts that can be put together in sequence in order to then replicate the same thing but in smaller.
Yep.
It is
and then figure out what order that actually has to go in.
Yep. Mental.
Yeah.
We did have a look at the instructions and then a chat with the instructions guy, and he was like, so they basically just give us all the stuff, and then we have to try and just logically do it together. And it takes months. It takes months to figure out, like, have I missed something or have I not missed something or what? It's very interesting.
I bet that's quite a fun job.
Yeah, he seemed to enjoy it. As a side note, though, I did ask, because they've got a old 1/72 scale Anson tooling, and I'm sure someone might ask this in the comments, so I'll just cover it off now. So they've got the old Anson tooling, which I said, why don't you release it as a vintage classic alongside the new tool 1/48 scale? Dale responded saying that he thinks people would get confused because they would buy the small one thinking it was the big one, or they'd buy the big one think it was the small one. So I think
I can't understand that.
Yeah, whilst they've got the big, nice new one out, they probably won't do the vintage classic small one.
Makes sense, to be fair.
Yeah, I said the way they've done it, the way they've gone about with this, it's just I think this is Airfix for the future, isn't it? This is what you're going to get. Captain VFC says, I think Airfix quality is fine and the instructions are amazing, but they still do money grabbing things like release kits on their own website a week before the home market and drip feed stock. I think the times are changing. I had a little discussion to one of the Airfix posse up there, and I just said, I always remember watching James May's Trouble in Model Britain, or whatever it was.
Oh, yes, that was a good one.
You had Chris come out. Is he called Chris? The guy who
was it Hammond?
Yeah.
What's his name? Oh, it's in the back of my head. It'll come to me in a minute.
Yeah. Well, anyway, the boss of Hornby went to a trade show and saw Rails of Sheffield releasing a kit, releasing a train, because Hornby haven't done one in years.
Oh, yes.
And they went out there, Hornby did, and designed this train and got it to market just before they did. And he turned around and said, why are they building trains for? I don't go into their market. And I thought that's so disingenuous, because at the end of the day, you're in their space. Your website, is up there right before, if I want an Airfix kit now, I pre-order it from Airfix. I don't go down to my local model shop and wait 3 weeks to get it. They are in the modeler space now, because Tamiya aren't in the modeler space, are they? I think Revel have got their own website, but it's a nightmare to get things shipped here because it's all based in Germany. Itali's the same. Yep. Academy, Trumpeter, they don't sell direct to public. But Airfix made the choice to do so. So I don't, and when it is money grabbing, I have noticed, though, that on the Airfix website, they are a few more pounds more expensive to get than your local model shop. And also postage is a bit expensive as well, unless again you're in the Airfix club and you are going to get cheaper
20% off sometimes.
off, and you get free postage as well.
Yeah. They did say that the Amazon shop on Amazon, that's like theirs, isn't it?
Yeah.
So they do free shipping on Amazon. So that's probably a better way to go.
Yeah.
Just saying.
But when it comes to a pre-order, I'm straight up there, like, you know, with I just order straight from the, you know, when they did the product guide for the year, you know, when they did their new releases in January, I think I must have spent pre-ordered at least 250 quid worth of stuff, and one of them was for the Spitfire 1/24 scale Spitfire, you know. So yeah, and I think that's the only way you're going to do it. But I said the Anson, I think everyone who buys this kit is going to be pleasantly surprised, and kudos to Airfix for thinking about doing this kit and gone in, and they have gone all in with it, haven't they?
Yeah. I think what people need to remember is that Hornby, although they own Airfix and Scalextrics and Corgi and Humbrol, etc., they don't effectively run the show. So it's Simon Kohler is who you're
Simon, that's his name, not Chris. Simon Kohler.
He's the head of Hornby, and his decisions are not Airfix's decisions.
Exactly.
Airfix is run by Dale. So, and they all go up to the same boss at the top. So
Lyndon, isn't it?
Lyndon, that's it. So whatever Hornby does, although it's a representation of the entire brand, Airfix doesn't necessarily follow in Hornby's footsteps. They don't necessarily follow the same practices. So, like, I don't know about you, but when did they have a Hornby day with like Sam's Trains and Jenny Kirk and all those other YouTube trained people? Everard Junction. When did they have those people go over there and have a Hornby day? They haven't, have they?
No. And that's what I say. Bringing Dale and Brooks, the youngsters that have the vision, the knowledge and the vision over the social media side.
And Sally,
I think was a brilliant. And Sally, I think was a brilliant. Look, I said straight away, I'm rubbish with names. I keep forgetting names. So please correct me. But I think it was a master game, and these content creators day and all these things is absolutely brilliant for the brand.
Ollie's just put up, are the toolings for kits made at Airfix or made somewhere else and then sent to them to start producing the kit? Well, I can, or basically what they do is they 3D print all the parts in one go with a 3D printer to make sure they, you know, and that's done off site. Some of it's done on site, but most of it's done off site. They get the parts back, then they look at it and make sure it all goes well together. Then they do the tooling, the designs of the tooling. That then gets sent to China where they make the tools. Then they get test shots from China, and if they're really happy with it, that tool then gets shipped to India, and that's where the kit is then manufactured.
There are exceptions to the rule, though. So there are some that are done in the UK, but it's very dependent on which product line that is. Because as Dale told us during our question and answers, it ultimately comes down to a matter of cost. So, you know, he said like the cost of just boxes in the UK is like 3 times what the cost of boxes are in India. So if people in the UK are happy to have designed in the UK, tooled in the UK, produced in the UK with UK plastic in a UK factory with UK boxes, then like 1/72 scale Spitfire is probably going to cost you about 30 quid. So it was purely what can we do, which is going to save the most time, the most money, and be the most accessible to the market.
And Gary's right there with the Toston. Well, I was told that figure as well. The figure I was told, it was between 50,000 and up to 200,000. I think, if I'm right, the Hellcat was the most expensive tooling they've ever done, if I remember rightly, and that was way past the 150k mark. And that I think that does include the design in and the to in and throw in. And also, I think the biggest thing that got me was, and I don't know whether your jaw dropped as much as mine did, that the cost of the decal sheet is just as much as the plastic in the box. God, did my jaw just touch the deck? I was like, so when you see a vintage classic and you're buying it for $7.99, you know what I mean? You know, that bit of paper and that's the beauty of a vintage classic. When you pick up these old kits that have been in a store in a loft for the past 15, 20 years, the decals tend to shite. You know, they're yellowed and or some of them even like disintegrate unless you put some micro scale decal finisher on them. They basically
that helps sometimes.
Yeah. But the beauty of the vintage classic is that you do get a brand new decal sheet, which could cost as much as the plastic. I wouldn't even go so much as they're talking that sort of money. I bet the box that it goes in is more expensive than the decal sheet. If you think about it, do you know what I mean? The box art, everything that goes on, it's
Every single step of the process costs them money. It's only when someone buys it and the money is sent back is when they make a profit.
Exactly.
Up until that point, they're effectively at a loss.
At a loss.
Yeah. But this is the same with every business, they are making a loss till they develop properly and get it out. But I don't think most people realize how much is into research, how much you spend into the decals, like Mo said, the plastic, the boxes, all of those things, and then paying the designers to get them done properly. Everything costs money. And when you see a Hanson for 47 quid, most people goes, oh yeah, but Airfix is just upping their prices. No, they're not. You're paying the quality that is in the box.
Yeah.
You want good decals? Yes, you have to pay for them. You have good molds and good plastic and good details? Yes, you pay for it. End off. For me, it's a no-brainer. But again, I'm Portuguese. I'm awkward, so I might be different.
See, and that's the beauty. Once they've got that tooling done, going by what the market asks for, or they could do things like what Dan Ash has asked. Would like to see Airfix do more rock and roll stuff, like the Motorhead Bomber, for example. Once the tooling's done, there's to bring out another scheme or another pattern or something isn't difficult. Well, we've seen it now, haven't we? We've seen all the toolings being brought out for. Unfortunately, it was a two and a half year delay for the new Top Gun Maverick. I don't think it cost them that much to rebox most of those kits with a Top Gun logo on it, and you can build Tom Cruise's Mustang. It wasn't difficult at all for them to do, I guess, apart from getting the licenses.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry to jump in there. So I'm back. I apologise for everybody. I had to take my wife to work, and I loved the invitation, but I didn't get it till too late to organise anything different. Anyway, something I was listening to this on in the car as I was driving, and so something I wanted to pick up on what you were talking about is the price on the Airfix site. Now, a little bit. This will come across wrong. It's not meant to, but a little bit of insight into retailing of model kits. Basically, the price on the Airfix kit on their website is the recommended retail price. Now, the problem is because we are in a world where everything's on the internet and our local hobby shops want to compete and get the sales. A lot of shops try their best not to sell at the recommended retail price. You're going to get a discount. So, in fact, actually what's happening is when you do that is that the retailer is taking a loss, a very small loss, but they are taking a little bit of a loss. So, and I get that. I get the comment. I understand the frustration from a consumer point of view, but unfortunately, we are in a market where we are driving the prices down by the way our shopping habits, which is sort of good, but also sort of bad, because what's happening is it then increases the quantity of models that those shops that we've only got a few left. Let's be honest. They've got to do a really high number of kits to be able to bring in the margin. Whereas Airfix, obviously, it's their product, it's on their website, and they sell it at the recommended retail price because they don't want to undercut the market. So, and I think sometimes we forget that, because let's face it, we all go on the internet, we all go into a shop and look for the cheapest possible deal on a particular kit. So, I just wanted to clarify that because I felt I should defend Airfix a little bit on that. The other thing I wanted to quickly go back to was this business about drip feed into the market as well. This I illuminated to this much earlier, and it may even be before we went live. One of the biggest problems we have right now is getting things to the market, especially right now, because obviously containers and all that sort of stuff, and the way we have, or the industry has allowed itself to produce the products far away and then have to get into all the shipping business. So one of the things in which I would say to Dale, if he was here right now, is I'd say that, and I've said it before, is that I would really love for you to say, right, okay, we're going to bring to market this product, and we're going to release it in July, and it'll be there in July. And I get it. Sometimes there's some issues with the molding, or there's something cropped up, or generally it's shipping, and the shipping is really killing not just the model market, but every market right now. It's really having a really divisive effect on businesses. And again, we must be ambassadors for the brand, because we've gone to see the efforts they put into it and the things they're doing and the developments they're making. And we've got to stop this knocking. We've got to stop knocking down. You know, I know for a fact, through conversations with Dale over the last few months, he has an enormous amount of frustration with the ability to bring to market as quickly as he wants. But what you've got to remember is that stock comes into a warehouse and then goes directly out to the retailer and then the consumer. Whereas that stock comes into the warehouse, and if they've sold it direct, it goes straight to the consumer. Yeah. So they don't hold that back. So because otherwise what they're going to do is they're going to end up having a whole load of stock sitting there waiting to go while they get everything out to the shops and the retailers. So that just builds up a lot of credit with the goods and all that sort of stuff. And eventually you're going to end up in a scenario where, you know, the retailers, whether they be big, like, you know, the Audis or the hobby crafts or all that sort of stuff, or the little retailer who can't afford to have credit sitting there doing nothing. It's got to be to moved around super quick. Otherwise, they're not making the money. So I understand the frustration. I understand that modelers generally get peeved with the fact they feel they're being drip fed, but they're really not. It is just the way the market works, and realistically, it is no different to the big supermarkets with their roast beefs and all the rest of it. You know, they bring out a new product and they try to get it on the shelves as quickly as possible. But you know, I'll give you a great example: Tesco's. Christmas time, we all know what's coming on the Christmas dinner table, don't we? Way before it's in the shop. And you can order it online, blah, 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 blah. Those people don't get it until it's in store, because it's picked in store and delivered to them. Yeah. So, you know, we're just being maybe a little bit unfair on them. And, I just want to get those 2 points across. Sorry.
You know, the valid points. Yeah. And like we would, I remember, you know, they were saying, you know, I put a meme up on Twitter, you know, they can see the container ship heading for Dover, and then at the last minute gets divert to Rotterdam. Yeah. You know, how broken could you be with that? You know, it's definitely one of them. You know, they are held by what's happening in the world at the time. You know, like I said, the cost of container ships and containers has gone through the roof.
Oh yeah. If you think about the containers, Moss,
Yeah.
Containers, 24 months ago were around about £4,500 a container.
Yeah.
They're now 26, 27.
25, 27,000. Yeah.
You know, and
$35,000, I believe.
yeah. And you know, I'm talking to people in the industry who are dropping brands. They're literally dropping some of the best brands because they can't afford to have that amount of credit or money tied up in stock that's on a boat for 3 months, and they don't even know if it's going to arrive in 3 months. They just can't do it. Plus, also, obviously, that cost is being passed directly on to the retailers and the consumer eventually. So, yeah, it's really broken at the moment. Really is.
Yeah.
Either you have a good budget to keep the loss on you and on the company and not on the retailer, or you have to pass that forward to the retailer. That there's no way in hell that you're gonna make a loss, you know. But
yeah,
yeah.
But like we were saying, you know, for 50 quid for an Anson, you know that they you know, you're going to get seeing a few releases of that one in the next 10 years.
Yeah.
So to put that investment in and to sell it, I think, you know, as I said, it's very, very. I would call that it's a very strong price for the market we're in for model kits, and we know that throughout the whole range, whether it's Tamiya, Revel, Italeri, the price of model kits have gone up because it's costing more to manufacture and get them into the UK.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're gonna have to grin and bear it, but we love our hobby so much, and the only way, the model. To be fair, the model manufacturers, I think, are grown. You know, Mini Art have come up really strong, haven't they? In the last 5 years, some of the stuff they've been producing has been great. And what I gather was, I thought they started off as just an accessory. So if you built a tank and you wanted some interior for it, you would go to Mini Art to get that sort of stuff. But as I say, you know, I think we are going. You know, we see that there's definitely a vision at Airfix. One, to improve the kits they put out there. Two, quality control. You know, one of my things was when I got that Spitfire Mark 5C, which is what they call as a classic kit, not the starter set version, but the classic kit one's what they call it.
Yeah.
I got it and it was scratched and dirty, like it'd been kicked across the floor at the factory. You know, and the Pagani I got, the new starter set, because they gave us another one, didn't they, when we were up there? But the original one, the blue paint had gone hard. So you know, and that's just. But that brings us to the question over to Humbrol. You know, we had a really good talk from Humbrol about their vision, and that was when I kind of went a bit off piste, and I think I don't want to say the word rattle them, but I shared my passion for Humbrol as somebody who's very disgruntled with it, because I still believe that they should get rid of the Humbrol brand and just call it Airfix, the same as the Tamiya. Call their, you know, the Tamiya models do their paints, Revel do their own paints, Italeri do their own paints and accessories. Why don't they just dump the Humbrol brand and bring it all in under the Airfix umbrella and move forwards? Because I think people have been bitten by Humbrol for years, and even saying, as I was still, one of the questions I should have asked for was, and I'm hopefully Airfix will. Is the Humbrol paints in a starter set the same Humbrol paints you're going to get in a dropper bottle? Or are they manufactured in the factory where they do the starter sets as their paint? Because at the moment, the Airfix, the Humbrol paints now, the Gen 2s are made in the UK. But I really can't see Humbrol paying to make the paint in this country, to ship it out to India, to box them into their starter sets.
It's an interesting question, you know, and I think this is part of the problem that has been created by the market itself, partly when I say the market, what I mean is our absolute desire for the cheapest possible part of models and all that sort of stuff. You know, I mean, Little History makes a comment in there about the 1/24 scale range should come with motors, lighting as standard, etc. And then makes a comment about a 10p worth of plastic. Let's get this out there. The plastic is not cheap.
No.
Right, you know, I don't know. I honestly don't know what the margins are. I know. If I'm honest, I probably wouldn't be brave enough to ask because I know I'd get shot down. But our expectations as a consumer is that we want everything really, really cheap, and because of that, it's driven manufacturing away from the UK and other places, and taking it to the cheapest place to make.
Yeah.
And I think that's not only a really sad thing, but obviously that then interferes with our developments, our abilities to develop products, etc. You know, and the idea that you know, you make a product in the UK and then you ship it over to India and then you ship it over to somewhere else, then you ship it over to somewhere else. No wonder you've got problems with shipping. You know, because you're relying on the shipping. And let's face it, up until very recently, we've been so reliant on shipping that we didn't see the issues that were coming, and we just aren't in a position to protect ourselves from that. You know, so the Humbrol acrylics are made in the UK. They're shipped to India to be put into the starter sets. And I think, to be honest, that's unfortunately the way business generally, not just Airfix, all businesses, and that's the way they do it, because obviously a lot of the things. Remember, one of the things Dal said at the at Airfix when we were there was that they want to try and control the amount of hands that are touching a kit from the process, from right from the beginning of the process all the way through to the packing, stick it in a box and get it off to wherever, you know. And that's a really difficult thing to do. You know, especially when you've got parts. I mean, not necessarily Airfix, but generally speaking, you've got parts. I mean, you look at cars. You make a car. How many parts are made in one area and all stuck on the car? They're not. They're shipped from all over the world. And that's the way manufacturing industry has become, and we're guilty for that. We've driven that because we wanted to have lower prices. So, you know, we need to recognize that the value, like I said, we need to recognize the value of the kits, not necessarily how much the amount of kits cost to make, because everyone's going to make profit. That's the idea of business. Otherwise, we won't get the development of the new kits that we want. If they don't make the money, they're not gonna. So, you know, it's like
it's difficult, isn't it? It's really difficult.
You know, we bash things so too much. We need to chill a bit and.
No, I think what people forget to take into account is all the process that gets into the final stage of having the plastic on the box, where you open the box and everything is there for you. Like we went through that, and most have the presentation where they go through all of that. They have 3D scanning, and they all go to various positions, and all of those miles, all the renting of a 3D scan has to be paid, and then has to be recovered. Then you have designers that have to design the parts, have to design, do all their research and try to find the stuff, and all that time has to be paid because they are not working for free.
Exactly.
The boxes, decals, the plastics, one of the most expensive things, the toolings to inject the plastic, and they need to be paid, and money needs to be recovered. I know that we all want as cheap as possible. I know we all want the best bargain possible, per se, but what people need to understand is that once it gets to that box, there's thousands and thousands of pounds already spent.
Absolutely.
And don't get me wrong, when they get a container to the UK, they are not going to get 20,000 Hellcats. or 30,000 Spitfires MK1s. No, they will have 5,000 of one, 10,000 of another, 3,000 of another. So all that money of shipping, paying the factory to produce, all of that needs to be recovered. I know it's easy for us to say, yeah, should have motors, should have lights, but not everyone wants that. And the motors, you get them from AliExpress for £3.
Yeah.
I have them here. The lights you get for pennies on eBay. So it's not hard for us to do the aftermath and add the stuff that we want to add into the build if you want. So I think a lot of and I think that Captain VFC made a comment just before, and I think that sums up the most of the community on scale models. He just will buy Airfix when he releases the themes that he wants with the planes that he wants. So I think that everyone wants that. I know I like this model, and no one is producing. Yes, I would love to have the full range of the Portuguese Air Force.
Yeah, you said
that will be just that will be just a small percentage. Bear in mind, we are 10 million in Portugal, and not all of us build scale models. So how much profit will they make from that?
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, they have to be realistic, and we have to be as a scale modelers. We have to understand that nothing comes cheap. So we are happy to pay £200 for an airbrush from Harden and Standback because it's the top of the range, it's the top of the quality. And we moan because we're paying £100 for a Spitfire that's full of detail that you barely need any PE.
Yeah.
So it's we need to find the balance. I know that we like to moan, and I'm the same. I moan about a lot of stuff, but sometimes we need to be realistic and understand. Actually, this needs to be paid. People need to make their money because otherwise, there's no other way.
Well, this is it. You're not talking. And this is pure fact here. When you're saying people got to make money, you know, people have got to feed their families. You know, we are a hobby, and if money's tight, I don't buy models. Simple as.
Yeah.
And that is how it comes down to the fact. Just as a quickie, Captain VFC has just wrote down here price comparison time. Mosquito 172 right now on Hannets. The Tamiya version £18.99. The Airfix is $23.99 and the Hasegawa is $29.99. Straight away, you can't judge the Tamiya's kit with the Airfix kit.
Yeah, my first question to that comment. Sorry, my first question to that comment was, okay, now tell me, out of the ones you've chosen, what year was that Tamiya first popped? Yeah. What year was the Airfix popped, and what year was the Hasegawa popped? Now, I don't know because I my fingers aren't quick enough to try and find that information. But I'm guessing that's a comparison to the new Mozzie.
Yeah,
the Airfix has done.
The new Mozzie. All right, I know people have said that it's an inch too short or whatever it is too short. The build of it is phenomenal. Now, I was talking to Plastic at the beginning of before the stream. I built the 172 scale Tamiya one, and I thought it was shite. You know, the way the nacelles goes in underneath the engine goes onto the wing. You got like a triangle piece. Yeah. And I couldn't get that to sit flush. I sanded it, I pushed it down, I put a clamp on the bloody thing in the end, and it still ended up, after sprayed, it popped up. And I got a second one to make sure it wasn't me, and it happened again. Whereas the Airfix one, because it's a new tool, it's clean, no on it, whatever, go together like a dream. You know, and if somebody else said I'm doing it wrong, then please tell me how, because I've done exactly what the instructions have said. But yeah, just looking out for the Mosquito from Hasegawa. Trying to see what year it is. Well, it's a monogram one, the Hasegawa one. So that was 19. Yeah, so the Hasegawa, the Night Fighter version, looks as 2016. Well, that originally was tooled back in 1999. So that's a 25-year-old kit, nigh on a couple of years, to where you're going now. And so for £6 more, you're paying for a kit that's probably, well, Revell brought it out in 2001. Revell's brought it out as well.
Yeah, I
So,
mean, you've got a comment in there about the Tamiya, and Substitute 79 says the Tamiya was popped out in 1999. Now, I don't know that because obviously I'm not looking, genuinely not looking. But interestingly, Captain VF then goes on to say he thinks it shows that Airfix are pretty spot on. Newest kit fits in with the others really well priced.
It does, yeah.
It's sitting right in the middle, guys. You know, and I think, I mean, I've fallen foul of this a lot. You know, where I've bought model kits and gone, oh yeah, that looks great. I never, you know, it is relatively recent that I figured out that a lot of kits were built in the 70s, that were made in the 70s, and they're still popping. I mean, Tamiya, for example, and I said this earlier, you know, we moan about Airfix enormously about the fact that they keep repopping the same old molds, blah blah blah. Tamiya do that. Tamiya done
Revell do that constantly. It's absolutely horrendous.
Other makers do exactly the same thing. Sorry, yeah.
So I'm just sitting here listening to you guys. I've just had a little thought to myself. So there was a period, wasn't there, where Airfix was sort of bounced between Humbrol and Hella, and then they went to Hornby. And in that time period, they were sort of pretty much just releasing the same stuff over and over and over again. And it wasn't exactly very expensive. So I think Airfix got sort of this bargain basement sort of feeling. And I can't help but shake the idea that a lot of people are used to Airfix being the cheap kits. Airfix being cheaper, not necessarily worse in comparison to models contemporary, but being cheap. And now the fact that obviously we've got prices rising just in general, because let's face it, even the price of bread is going up. And then it's like, you know, these models are going to be better. They're not the cheap kits anymore. They're going for quality. They're going for detail. They're going for the same or better than their competitors. But people can't seem to shake the idea that, well, Airfix was £3 when I was a kid, so why isn't that kit £3 now? Because it's not the same. It's moved on.
Do you know how much I paid for my first Airfix kit?
Here we go. Go on then. 89p.
Correct. 89p was what I bought my first Airfix kit for. Now, at the time, 89p was an awful lot of money to me, and especially at the age I was.
Should we do a translation? Should we do a conversion for inflation?
Oh, could you? Go on then. 1933. No, I'm joking.
We can't base conversions because we've got minimum wage now, haven't we? Do you know what I mean? It doesn't work like that anymore. It really doesn't.
It is what it is, you know. But what I was going to say was that, you know, I spent 89p. Now, at the time I was a kid, so that was pocket money, and it took me a lot of effort to get that pocket money. But I got as much enjoyment out of that kit then as I do right now. Yes, it costs a bit more. But like you just said, you know, price spread's not what it was back in the day either. You know, so we need to sort of look at our expectations and look at, you know, I mean, the funny part is, right, you can go out and you can spend let's say 50 quid on a model, right? So we take the Anson as a great example. It's a new kit. 50 quid. How much do you spend on that mobile device on your desk right now? Okay, you use it every day, but how much and that's an enormous amount of money.
This was a content idea I had.
I'm going to bring that point up. I went out the other night, okay, and you know, it was a romantic evening. Normally, a romantic evening is me walking at midnight to the fridge and getting something, but we had curry, pudding and drinks came to £72, and we were there for 3 hours. I can buy a model kit for 25 quid and have a month of shutting the door to my work, my office, in my workbench, shutting the door, sitting down, and just because, as I said, I think scale modeling has been my
therapy,
my yoga. It's my yoga, basically. All right, things piss me off when a part doesn't go right or the paint goes to fuck. I get all that, right? But the fact I can shut that door, I'm on my bench, camera ready, filming away, and building a kit, there's no value in that to me, and that's where it kind of gets to for mental health, mentally, and when you've had a bit of a stressful day, there's nothing better than when everybody's out there. The wife's watching Love Island, the dog's had its walk, we've had our tea. I turn around, I put my chair by my desk, grab the model kit, and I just start doing whatever, starting the next part of that build. And if you get to the very end, and you get this product, like what Simon said, it's not a toy, it's for keeps. And you put it somewhere, like my models are up at the library. My models are on show at the library, in the local library. So other people can enjoy them as well. Isn't that, is there really a monetary value to our modeling thing? And that's and as I said, a model kit never costs you 20 quid. It never costs you 25 quid, because the tools, the paints, the glue, the masking tape, there's everything else involved in that. And the one thing, like my point is that we get to a point where we look at the product and think, why do we have to pay so much money for it? Well, I can say the same to people who buy cars. They go buy a car, they buy the cheapest tires, the cheapest brakes, but those are the two most fundamental parts of the engine that will save your life. One, the tires keep you on the road, and two, the brake pads stop the car. But being in the trade, when you say, I need new brake pads, new tires, just get the cheapest ones. And we're the same in the modeling. We look at, we're willing to spend 15, 20 quid on Hataka paints, but then we crunch at the numbers when we think we've got to spend 23 quid on a fucking kit. Come on.
Twice, isn't it?
Yeah, it is just like that. It really is. And
Can we swing back to this sentiment here that I have a lot of comments, especially in my builds, where I go like, I've just built a kit which was tooled back in the 1960s, and I say the fact that it was released in 2010 as part of a 2010 range, alongside other kits with recessed details, etc., blah blah blah, good fit. Why this was released in 2010? That's horrendous. I can't believe it. It blows my mind. It doesn't make sense. And people go, there's no such thing as a bad kit, just a bad modeler. And I go, okay, so if that's true, would you be happy being fed dog food every night? Because there's no such thing as bad food. There's just a bad chef.
Yeah.
Objectively, kits can be bad. They can be poor quality. They can have mold problems. They can have flash. They can have poor quality decals which fall apart the second they touch water, or they don't stick to the model and they silver, even though you've put on 5 layers of decal fix or whatever. You can have a bad kit, and as a model reviewer, I think it's our job to point out that these kits are intrinsically bad or exceptionally good.
Exactly. I think that'd be spot on. We get passionate about it. It's like, when people complain about the plastic, does it fucking matter about the plastic? Really? I've put together really what I call tinny plastic kits. And I'll tell you a really tinny hard plastic is the Jaguar 132 scale from Revel. It's now being retooled because it's apparently the roof gets, you spray up, something goes wrong with the roof and the chassis, but it's a really hard plastic, and it, when I do Airfix kits, if I sand it too much, it's going to make a difference. But I tell you what, you scratch a hard plastic, you could be there forever and a day trying to sand that hard scratch out. Do you know what I mean? At least you've got a bit of play with the softer plastic. And also, if it's softer, it doesn't take any longer for it to dry and to cement together properly. If you've got a hard plastic, you're going to be there a bit longer waiting for it to set, if you see what I mean. But yeah, people moan about the plastic, but seriously, is it really a difference in the plastic? Does it really? And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe because I'm not as a big experienced modeler or somebody. I've been doing it for years, but I'm not so in depth with all this. I'm quite happy that if I can get my Tamiya or my Humbrol poly cement to get in the crack and it joins together and it's nice finish. That's all I care about, But you try and do this, you try and do that, It's
modeling is about finding what you enjoy And
Yeah.
I went through a period about 5 years ago where I just wanted to build them. I didn't want to paint them. I didn't
Yeah.
want to put decals on them. I didn't even want to look at the instructions half the time. I just wanted to cut bits off and glue them together. That's all I wanted to do. That's what I enjoyed at that moment in time. Yeah, okay, I enjoyed different parts at different times. About 2 years later, I went through a massive painting session and I painted them all. But I didn't put the decals on. I left them for like another year because that's what I wanted to do at that moment. That's what I found fun. And I think a lot of people out there, it's okay to enjoy different things. You might really like taking a very small part of the aircraft or the tank or whatever and making it as perfect and as amazing as you want it to be. But don't put someone else down because they couldn't care less about whether there's even like a pilot glued inside the plane.
Yeah, exactly.
See, I don't glue pilots inside my airplanes. All of them are pilotless.
I just,
flying. Are they
I don't
flying?
think-
I just need to say,
I
sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
I just need to say, I am really struggling right now with the image that Moss has given me of him in a leotard doing model making, as it's his yoga.
No.
And on that note, I just hope that for the sake of his marriage, his missus not listening to this stream.
Why,
because she might go ask your models to cook the dinner. Go off you go.
Go off to the fridge.
Ask the models to put the dinner on the table. Come on.
I think part of the problem that we have right now, and been for a while, is we've got a double-edged sword going on here. In that, you know, I mean, I used to model on a tray or in a room by myself. Never really spoke to anybody. Didn't really show my models. It was my time, my thing. I found social media in a big way 5-6 years ago. You know, look at what I've done and all that sort of stuff. And social media is always been a double-edged sword. Sometimes it's great because, you know, you got people like everyone here right now that's talking that are proud of what they do. They acknowledge the fact that they're on a journey and they're in different parts of the journey, and they're willing to share the knowledge that they've gained or confer with each other to gain more knowledge, you know. And that's great. That's a brilliant part of social media, and especially over the last all the goings on that's gone on the last couple of years, it's absolutely exploded in so many positive ways. The negative side to it, unfortunately, is you will always get that, I'm going to use the words, keyboard warrior who's like, oh yeah, no, when that tank blew up, the turret would never have been that destroyed. You know, and I find that so disparaging, because at the end of the day, if I build this tank that's on my desk right now and I decide to make it ruined, yeah, I might do a little bit of research. I probably won't, if I'm honest, because I'm lazy. It's no better than that. But I'll imagine what I think I can imagine. Now, our imagination, our generation and the generation in front of us, a lot of their experience of war and all that is through cinema. And cinema and films are not always accurate.
Definitely not.
You will see a lot of things that people do in their model making that is molded from their experiences of life. And we're fortunate. We know, obviously we have wars around the world, which we currently have in different places and always have had, but we haven't had the devastation that the Second World War, etc., went through, etc. So we've not experienced that sort of devastation or seen it really. So yeah, that's another aspect to the hobby. But the one thing that I learned since I joined Models for Heroes, which is a voluntary charity that works with serving and ex-service men and women of both military and civilian, we use this hobby as a therapy. And it is 100%. Yes. There isn't a modeler I know that doesn't say to me, oh yeah, no, I build a model because it gets me away from my normal life. It makes me not think about my bills. It makes me not think about the argument I've had brewing for however many months, or the fact that a hot date is a moment with the fridge. You know, we don't realize what this little bit of plastic in this little box, the joy and health benefits it brings to us. And you know, we spend far too much time being hard on each other, because what we need to do is build this, enjoy the journey. It is a journey, no matter whether you started years and years ago or whether you start tomorrow. It is just a journey, and you will do things so much different at the beginning to the middle to the end, all the time. So enjoy just making the plastic. If that's what you like doing, just enjoy that.
I don't know about you guys, but I get excited just like opening the box and looking at it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I like doing reviews, doing the unboxing and reviews.
Yeah.
Put it there in front of you.
Some nights I'll sit like in my bed and just look through an instruction booklet and maybe look at some of the parts, just because I like the hobby. I enjoy it. I mean, I wouldn't be here if I didn't.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Go on, plastic.
No, just speaking on boxes, and I'm the same as Model Minute. Around my desk, I have a 148 Spitfire. I have 2 IBG models to start. I have 14 Tomcat, a Lancer Evolution, and a YF23. And all of them, I haven't started even build them yet. I just go look to the box. Oh, this looks really cool, and then close it again. And then next day, I go and open the same box and go, oh, I didn't notice this. This looks really good.
Yeah.
So I can relate to that, and it's really enjoyable. On the social media side, James, one of the best platforms that I found, and most know that I do that, was Twitch.
Yeah.
Because there's not much people around, and the people that go on there are very friendly and very helpful. And
and like-minded.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I could... unfortunately, last July, I have a ton of events and my head went on the bonkers. And my last stream was February this year. But I was a regular presence on Twitch from Monday to Thursday, 2 hours a day. And those 2 hours would go in a snap of a fingers.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
You get other people there that you would be talking. We would be having banter. We would be discussing the model, the best way to approach this. And those hours would go in the top of your head, and that's what scale models is having that feeling, that community feeling, that enjoyable moments, and get on with it. Just so amazing,
Well, that was the one thing in which I found when Models for Heroes is a thing that you do face to face.
Yeah.
You go to a venue, you go to it can be the back of a supermarket or whatever. But you get into a venue, you get a few people turn up, you talk about a couple of kits. And I'd actually forgotten. Basically I was a lead volunteer for doing these sessions at the Chelsea Pensioners Hospital in London. Chelsea Hospital, sorry. And to see these gentlemen come in and start fiddling around with a bit of plastic and the smile on their face, the joy that it was bringing, I'd forgotten that. I had forgotten that. And there's one thing I really like about volunteering is that, during the dark times of COVID, where we couldn't do face-to-face, we had to do an online presence because it was the only way it was going to work, because we didn't want to let our beneficiaries down. And that has absolutely exploded, like Airfix's social media, etc. And it's absolutely amazing to see like-minded people sat around chewing over a bit of plastic, smelling the plastic, opening the box and going, whoa, and all that. It is amazing. And that's what I was alluding to earlier, was that, I used to sit in a room by myself. Now I'm hanging out with these chaps. I'm hanging out with other like-minded people. I can sit here for what seems like half an hour, and it turns out to be 4 or 5. I generally are dragged out of my room by my wife because she thought she was married and she hasn't seen me. It's a great thing. It's a marvelous thing. but we have to remember it's a journey, and we don't get hung up on the negatives, because there are negatives, unfortunately. Like in life, generally there will always be a negative somewhere.
Yes, definitely, mate.
And we just have to treat it the same. But
I think it's worth remembering as well that you don't have to be just like a scale modeler. You can be interested in other things as well. Because I like to watch Warhammer videos. I've never done Warhammer in my life. I've got some little figures which I gave to my wife because she was like, "Oh, I want to paint miniatures," and I got her some Warhammer figures. She painted a couple, and went, "I don't really like these." So I said I'd 3D print her some like fairies or something because that's what she wanted to paint. She wasn't interested in the Warhammer figures, so I've got some of them. But I like watching the Warhammer videos. I like watching how they play the game, but I've never done it at all. And there are a lot of very talented YouTubers out there in the Warhammer scene who watch scale modeling videos, and they don't do any scale modeling. They just do because that's what they enjoy. And the stuff is cross transferable as well. Like just because you use this technique as a scale modeler doesn't mean you can't use a Warhammer or a wargaming painting technique on your figures, for example.
Yeah.
It is cross transferable, and people seem to go, "Oh, well, you can't do that because that's a different technique for a different hobby." And it's like, why is it?
Yeah, by far, man. If you go to Twitch, again referring to Twitch, if you go to Twitch, most of the people that follow scale modelers are either gunman builders or Warhammer builders or figure painters.
Yeah.
So there is space for everyone, and you can cross transfer the techniques, as you said, Matt. There's no stopping there. Just people need to understand that there's not such thing as a military scale modeler or a civilian scale modeler. No, scale modelers. End off.
I like trains.
Yes, there you go. Well,
I really like trains. I wanted to be like a Hornby YouTuber back in the day. When I first created the channel, I wanted to be like the next Intercity 82. I wanted to be Sam's Trains. And I didn't have space for trains, so I ended up doing Airfix instead, and then this is where I am now. But it's funny because my train videos always do well.
Yeah,
I don't think I've had a train video which hasn't done well, but a lot of my modeling videos, not so much.
No.
Yeah.
And also, that's the other part. That's the other elephant in the room. Is that actually trains are far more expensive than scale models.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but they make noises. They have motors.
Didn't the Hornby bring out a train that was like £800 because it was limited edition or something?
Yeah.
Crumbs.
Yeah, but they make sounds. They have motors. They have lights. They do smoke.
Well, they never used to.
Yeah, that's
used
the thing.
to.
Yeah, but that's the thing is, there's a niche for the market, and there's people interested in it, and there's people willing to pay loads of money for it. Like when we do, if you guys do commission builds, sometimes you charge a price, and if you wonder how the person paid so much for that. But because they love it and they don't have the skills, they prefer to give to someone that have the skills and pay to that person. But
what I want to see in a training department is that they release their trains as kits. Just give me all the bits in a bag. That's all that I want, because I don't want to buy. I don't want to buy a ready-to-run locomotive for £150 and then strip all the paint off and repaint it and add extra details and put lights in it and stuff because they haven't done that in the factory. Just give it to me in bits to start with so that I can just start from that point.
Yeah. Do you know what's the funniest part about? I mean, if you want to find locomotives and that as kits, then go to a model show. A model railway show, because there's always loads of them. In many different guises, but the one thing in which I came across, when was that? It must have been about 3.5 years ago, maybe 4 years ago. My father is an enthusiast of the railway, for model railways anyway. So I've been to a few exhibitions with him, and I remember going around there one day, and there was a big hype about the fact that you could weather your train and blah blah blah, and I just nonchalantly went, yeah, whatever. I've seen that for ages. However, about 2 weeks later, my dad phoned me and said, do you want to weather a train? I said, not really. I'm not really that interested, thanks.
Yeah.
He said, I only asked because I'm reading this article right now where people are paying thousands of pounds for locomotives to be weathered, not painted, just weathered.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what, really? It's and like you said, you know, the crossover between all the different scale hobbies, be it railway roading or wargaming, etc. All the skills are the same. They're all transferable. They're all things in which you can learn from. You know, I my passion is dioramas. You want to see something about dioramas, scale model railways. The tracks are always
it's a big one, isn't it?
amazing.
It's a big diorama.
Because it's just a big diorama. It's not the scale I like, but yeah.
Just quickly want to jump back onto the Humbrol thing and about it, the future of Humbrol and Airfix.
Mm-hmm.
The one that was the 3D printer. Now they showed us pictures of this 3D printer. Unfortunately, I can't seem to find one at the moment. But that, you know, I remember again going back to, you know, years ago when they put a video up and you were seeing Simon go into an office to talk about the game of things, and we all have games and stuff, and they'll say maybe the future of Airfix and Hornby and that was all to do with the electric side, all the, you know, computer games and whatnot. But actually, I think the future for Airfix and the trains, any modelling, is this idea of producing a 3D printer, and you might be able to build your own resin or 3D printed parts to add to the model. And I think it's this is why another reason why I think Humbrol should dump the brand and call themselves Airfix. But you can imagine the potential of buying a kit and having the files where you can, you know, a QR code that will then take you to download the files to build the extra different gun turrets that you need for a tank, because a certain version had a different, you know, the options are limitless if you have a 3D printer.
There is a company that I've been speaking to that are interested in doing not exactly what you've said, but along the similar lines.
Yeah.
So we may well see it in the future where you build a kit and then there's extras for you online. Obviously, yeah, obviously the issue there with STL files is that you can buy them, but once you've bought them, what's stopping you from emailing them to someone else? They become uncontrollable. Yeah. So you're kind of having to hope that someone would be honest and contribute.
Yeah.
So I've had this conversation at length with certain people about this, and they are trying to find a solution, but it might be more of a donation type of deal. I don't know.
Yeah, it's
and also would it also put down the fact that you can do, whereas at the moment Airfix produce a plane, for instance, and then 2 years later they then re-release it with new parts. You know, the cheapest way for them to do that would be, we're going to release this kit with the STL files. You can download your own resin parts. Or do they say scrap that because we want you to buy the kit in full, and not produce those extra parts because they want you to buy it in plastic, not really resin print it?
I think that they shouldn't do the parts as an extra add-on. I think they should do an accessory as the add-on. So you get extra crew members, for example, or like a little trolley for servicing the vehicle, something extra to the model, but later on, when you have your new release, so say, for example, a Spitfire Mark 8 with extended wingtips, for example, is the development of the kit. And in that one, you get something else. Another file is released, which is, I don't know, a fuel bowser or some or fire extinguishers.
I think the big problem with 3D printing is, while we've seen a massive jump forward in the detail that you can get from printers. I mean, I've got a resin printer, but it's very much similar to the computer market, where you buy a product, is the best quality at that time, but as soon as you've unboxed it, it's been surpassed. And plus also, the There are a lot more 3D printers out there now than there was, but we're still not at that point where everyone's got them on the side. Like, I think the phrase that Humbrol used was they envisaged that the printer they're bringing to market, which I think is a good idea and a good product, but it's aimed at the basic side of things, which I think is great, because not only is it in reach of people, so it's not a great deal of money, but more importantly, it's one of those things in which you might get as a family gift, and the children will learn how to use it, just like my father did when computers were a thing, and I poo-pooed computers. Couldn't understand why anyone would want a computer. They never last. What, it's a fad. What the hell? How wrong was I? I'm an idiot. I put my hands up. But the same with 3D printing. And right now, with certainly with the security in cyberspace, you know, I can download a file and I can then post it up for people to use. It's not even give it to my friend. I can post it on a site and you can go and use it free of charge. Now, Airfix and other model companies are never going to make any money by doing that. However, reading between the lines, and this is in no way anything that anyone said to me at that event, the fact that Hornby are looking at it and actually bringing something to market, I think they are closely watching that market, and in the future there may be something. I don't think it'll be a kit. I honestly don't. I think it will be potentially a product that they can bring to market that would cost them far in excess of value to them. Like, for example, 124 figures as a classic example. The cost to do that and the molding and all the rest of it is phenomenal. Whereas maybe, and I don't know this for a fact, but maybe to have someone set at a computer and 3D model it and then send it out as a file, maybe that's a cheaper option for them. And
I get that. I do. But then again, you know, the biggest threat with the 3D printers is really at the Warhammer guys, isn't it? You know what I mean? You know, and they are banging it down hard at the moment, aren't they? You know, where if they see a file that put out there of a Warhammer figure, they're hammering down on them quite a lot, like, you know.
Yeah, but how much money have you got to throw at that situation to chase people? You know, you look at copyright infringements across the world. There are millions and millions and millions of them, and only a very, very small percentage are prosecuted and recouped, if you like, in some form. They don't recoup all the money, but you know, that's, you spend thousands and millions. You spend millions and millions chasing people to get nowhere. So better not to do it to the first place. You know, I mean, even to the point now where realistically we're getting really close to the stage now that I can buy a kit from any manufacturer and I can have a little desktop 3D printer that's behind me in resin, and I can get a 3D scanner and I can scan it myself. It's not gonna come in parts. It'll come as a solid lump. I could potentially sit there and scan the parts if I wanted to, I guess. But, you know, and what are they? The 3D printers now are like a really basic one is 250 quid, maybe?
Yeah.
It's peanuts.
It is. But as I said, you know, somebody just wrote a comment saying, will 3D printer be the future of you know, building a complete model kit? I don't think it will, because I think there are limitations. Because at the end of the day, all you're doing is forcing through plastic with a nozzle to create a part, you know, and I can't see rivet detail and panel
I've sent a link
lines.
to one of my Instagram posts in the private chat. Can you pull that up on your screen?
Yeah, I should be able to.
Because I can't figure out how to do it for the life of me on my end. Life of me, can't figure it out. So the printing that you're talking about there, that's the FDM printing. Is it? I can't remember. I always get confused. There's two different kinds of printer at the moment. You've got your resin, which is your detailed one, and your filament one, which is a filament one.
Yeah, it is a filament printer.
Yeah, so the Humbrol one that they want to bring out is going to be a filament printer, because this is what I don't understand really, is that a filament printer is technically more complicated than a resin printer. A resin printer is slightly more expensive in the sense that you need to have like a UV screen that works and does the job. But a filament one is more complicated because it has more moving parts. It has more stuff that could go wrong.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, when they suggested that printer at the thing that we were at,
is this what you want about?
My immediate thought was that's backward. But that's how I see filament printers, and now that's probably going to anger a lot of people that have filament printers and use them. But that's why I bought a resin printer, is I felt that the quality of the print was just not good enough for me personally, and I waited for a resin option.
So what you've got on the screen there is one of my. This is just a side project. This is just me figuring out how to use the printer, and I found all of the files for this on Thingiverse apart from the display base. So the display base is one of my own designs, and I think Mr. Alchemist, you've got a couple of these now.
Yeah,
in way of recompense for stealing your. Patches. I sent you a couple of bits.
What did you steal?
The patches that you gave out, turns out he couldn't find his, and they were in my bag. So I forwarded them on and sent a few extra bits and pieces. So what you see on the screen there, that was printed with my Elgu Mars 2 Pro, but that's not like a 4K printer. That's like a standard HD resolution printer. Yeah. So it's kind of down to how you position the parts and how you orient them and do the supports, and also on how detailed the actual file is. So it's a Halo dropship. Everything was found on Thingiverse, and I printed it out to be sort of the right sort of scale. I think in the end, it's around like 1 to 400 and something scale, so it's pretty small. But you can see the level of detail that actually managed to come out on that. And these are only like photos from my phone, so they're not like world standard, amazingly close-up shots, but people say 3D printing is nowhere near injection molding. Well, that fits comfortably in the palm of your hands, and the detail on that is just as good as some injection, or even better than some injection molded kits that I've seen.
Yeah. And you got there's panel lines and everything there, isn't there?
Panel lines. You can do recess detail, raised detail, like even the machine guns on the figures. The figures are like 3 millimeters tall, and the machine guns are like not even, they're like 0.1 of a millimeter in barrel diameter, and you can print that. Granted, it's very fragile and you have to be super careful, but it is doable. It's possible.
It is.
I've got a challenge for you.
For me?
Well, for all of you.
All right.
If you look at the screen right now, on the desk is 2 space shuttles. Okay, they're primed, so it's going to be a little difficult. But I'll give you a little bit of a close-up look at it. I'll give you this one.
Is this just decide which one's resin and which one's filament?
Correct.
Right.
Now tell me which one is the kit and which one is the resin.
The resin one's in your right hand.
In this hand?
Yeah.
No, hang on. I reckon
it's got a bit of detail.
So I can tell you, Moss, you're wrong.
Right, okay.
This is the resin print. And the reason you can tell that is because there's a joint there and there's a joint there.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Yeah, but the detail on that resin print is
far superior to what you had on the kit.
Absolutely amazing. Now this is the... Oh, hang on.
He's got it wrong.
No. No, not my hands, honest. I can't remember the kit name.
It's the Revel one, isn't it? That one on the right.
Yes, right. Yeah, thank you.
It's the Revel one.
Kit. Now this Revel kit has a lot of issues. And what I did, we myself and Carl Smith from Making Models, we started a group build of the Revel kit. And because Carl was going so slowly, I found a file that was downloadable from Thingiverse, so I 3D printed it. And I thought, oh, what a great idea! I'll build them simultaneously and see which one looks better. Now, what I will do is bear with me a second.
this could be a big mistake actually, but never mind. I'll show you.
There's a quick question. Sorry, while you're there looking, John Alex Scale and Models. That daycare to talk about how they're addressing lost parts and sprues. They have a brilliant customer service department. You fill in the form. You go over. There's a little white label on the back of a box that tells you the product code or the person who packed it, and they get it sent out. And when I had the Concorde and I was missing the wheels in the undercarriage, they had it sent to me within 4 working days. So it was really good.
So we'll put this to one side for a second. These are obviously the shuttles. So this is the kit. That's going to white right out. That's not going to work. Damn. Hang on a minute. Let me change my lighting again.
Change your lighting.
I don't think it'll make it much better, but we'll try.
Sorry, I know you're going to do like a fun experiment now, but sadly, I think it's probably time for me to go.
Are you?
Yeah, I got to head off.
All right then, mate.
All right, it's been a
We'll do
pleasure.
this again, Matt. We'll do this again. I think people have enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Catch you later. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, all that stuff that people do with videos.
Brilliant.
Catch you later.
See you later, mate. Have a good evening, mate.
Bye-bye.
Right, so you're not going to see it very well, but obviously that's the kit, which is okay. The detail's not bad.
Yeah.
This is the kit on the resin print.
Right. Look at that. Look at the side of that.
Now I scaled this up. This was a file that was actually, would you believe, I might be able to reach it. The file.
There's no weld marks there, though, mate. You can't use it. There's no weld marks.
The file was meant to be this size.
Bloody hell.
Right?
Wow.
I scaled it up to as close as I could to exactly the same scale as the Rebel kit. And I lost no quality at all. If you can see the riveting, etc., it's just phenomenal. Yeah. So a resin printer can really print some amazing stuff. And we shouldn't be scared of them. And that's why I didn't go for the filament, is because I just didn't think I'd be able to get that sort of quality. The only downside, which is completely my fault, if you look at it, it's a bit of a banana.
Yeah. There's a certain length about it, isn't there?
Yeah, it's a bit of a banana. That's my fault. And
yeah.
The way
somebody was talking before about Tamiya putting electric motors in these tools and stuff. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But I think that the other thing about 3D printing that we shouldn't forget is that at the end of the day, we spoke earlier about people saying, "Oh, can you make this particular model Airfix?" And the response is, "Well, yeah, but there's only a small market for that, like Portuguese planes, you know what I mean." And we have that exact same problem with 3D printing. There is not a lot of people that have got them in comparison to the market. And it would be a struggle for Airfix and other companies to make money. Yeah. Especially when you've got the cyber part of it and all that. But one little fun fact that I managed to find, were you aware that Warhammer make 26 million in their branded merchandise alone?
Yeah. 26
million. So that's a lot of money in which they have to protect. Otherwise they'd lose it. So yeah, it will come at some point, I'm sure, in the future when we do our next interview with Dal with grey hair and a simmer frame.
Yeah. He's got the grey hair now, isn't he?
Oh, he will have once the child comes. Congratulations, by the way, Dal and Mrs. Dal.
Yeah,
it'll come at some point, but until the market is in a position to be able to secure itself and its profits, it's not going to come soon. But
I think that, or just saying, I have bought resin kits before, and super, because it's super glue you glue them together with, isn't it? You don't
It
use
is, yeah.
cement.
Yeah.
It's never the same as if you're using hot weld glues or hot melt cements to put more together. I think 3D printers are going to go a long way, but at the end of the day, I don't think they've got anything to worry about, because people do things to make money, and the amount of time, effort, dedication, and also the work that Airfix do, which is a little something for you. They use Corgi in the brand because the Corgi have most of the licensing for these kits. For Boeing, for Grumman, all people like that. They've got the licensing. Corgi have. And at the end of the day, I don't, to get the license to do a lot of this stuff in 3D print, and there's a lot of work that goes into designing a kit ready for build. It's not just about getting it, or it's not about designing a kit as a one piece. You then got to design it on how you're going to create the parts individually as well, and it takes a lot of time, a lot of effort. And as I said, people do this job because they need to feed their families, and costs are going up. But it's I think 3D is a future for Humbrol, or should I say Airfix? In it, whichever guys they use it, and then basically to me, I can see 3D print getting there and being more of a want, or a resin part being more of a want than having photo etch, because I promise you, I've bought kits with photo etch and I can't stand photo etch. I really can't.
What do you mean?
I love the stuff.
Oh yeah, I know you do, Solly.
I can't. You know, I struggle to buy a kit without buying photo etch.
Really?
I can't help it. I just love doing it. It's like, we were saying a lot earlier on about, it's one of the things I find partly relaxing with the hobby is photo etch and action decals.
Yeah.
I do find some a bit sort of really, I think as well, there's a satisfying thing at the end of it as well.
Yeah.
Because you've had to put a lot of effort into doing it.
Yeah, you do. But anyway, lads, it's been an hour and 40 minutes. We've chatted so much. Thank you, everyone who's joined the chat. Obviously, hopefully you'd like to do it again with me to do a chat, or whether you do it on your own channel. I do pay for StreamYard, so we get like the full wax here.
I said it the other day. I think we should do this a bit more regular.
And have a good old chat and everything. Obviously, I want to thank Airfix for the day, and here on my bench, I'll put it here now for the creator award. I've still got to vandalize it and put my name on it at some point. And the the humble products they gave us, things like this, which is the new diorama smart mud, which is an interesting product. It comes wet and you put it on your diorama and it dries hard, and you can paint it. And it looks quite good stuff by what I've not had a really good look at it proper, but I dipped my finger in it and it stained my finger brown. So, but yeah, you know what I mean. It's good. It's a good product, and also the weather impacts and everything else that they gave us, which Plastic Alchemist has been using, which has been good. And the one thing I wish I bought it at the shop, but I didn't. I bought it online from the Airfix shop. Recommended for those who are just getting into modelling. This book here, The Basic Guide to Modelling. I've had a really good thumb through. It's been really insightful so far.
Yeah,
And also, before I do leave, again, thank you guys for coming along. I know Plastic and Sully, Model Minutes, and Modelling Weekly, they all contacted me about coming up to do one of these creator days, and I put the invite out, and us 5 went up there. But I can assure you that this is going to be an ongoing thing. I think Airfix are going to be inviting other people to come along and do these creator days. Other creators will be invited. I can't stress how privileged I was to meet all the other modelers that I watch. That's the thing that got me. I was more starstruck sense of meeting the people that, you know, in the flesh. I know me and Matt speak quite a bit more minutes, and we're on our own little Discord group and we chat about YouTube crap and how bad YouTube can be at keeping our videos down. But ultimately, it was a real pleasure to meet you guys. I hope you enjoyed the woven patches and you've patched them somewhere of my logo. My bag got quite a bit of attention, didn't it, that day? You know, with you know, that with all the Airfix, you know, the woven patches I got on there. But again, thanks guys for coming along, and I think we should do this again because it is good to chew the fat on these things, you know, and to say that, you know, we've all come to an agreement that we need to actually just sit back and sniff the flowers that Airfix are giving us, because at the moment the flowers are smelling sweet.
I'll tell you one thing, Boz, which the rest of the group would probably surprise everybody, because you know how I feel about both of these things. I'm actually going to get Airfix's 124 Spitfire.
And
you know how much I detest Spitfires.
Yeah, I get that.
But I've never gone on about it. Like, but
and the funny part about it is that it'll be one of the nicest kits you make without any PE, and you might actually rethink your bad.
I've got one of the photos I've seen on it really quickly. The photos I've seen it look absolutely amazing, and I'm quite a big Edard fanboy, and it looks very close to theirs from what I've seen from the photo. So I thought I'll give it a go when it comes out.
I remember being in the showroom that they've got there, and I remember saying to Ethan, just for the engine and the cockpit alone on that 124, you could bag that up and sell it. Because when I saw it up in Duxford, I just went, fucking hell, what a stunning look. And I said it on camera as well. I did. I was like, wow, you could box that engine up and the cockpit up and sell it. It's that good. They won't, obviously, because it's all part of it, but it is an absolute phenomenal kit. I've come away from Airfix with a real appreciation to what they're doing. I'm gonna say it now. 5 years time, I think it'll be Tamiya Who.
Yeah.
I really do believe they've got. Yeah, I hope, and as long as they can get the quality control right, I don't think that they've got much to worry about. I think that, you know, as I said, Dale, Sally, Brick, Paramajit, Ethan, Chris, the designer, you know, and I even said to the instruction mate, you know, the guy that does instructions, I was blown away with how in depth the starter set range instructions are, to the point where you put the bloody glue, where you put the cement to. It is, I was impressed with that. I wish all of them were like that. Oh, yeah. And as I said, you know, prices are going up because I said nowadays when you get a kit, it's not an exploded view, 3 pages of instructions, put this here, put that there. It's a booklet, a little booklet showing you where the paint goes, where, you know, it's moved on. And I think the Airfix have got the balance completely right.
Yeah.
Also. But thanks, guys. If you want to come to this again, you know, in a couple of weeks, we'll arrange another Tuesday night chit chat. I'll try and work out this software a bit more so I can get more slides up and stuff, so we can talk about models and whatnot and everything. But again, you guys, thanks for meeting us up at Margate. It was fantastic seeing you, and I hope you all enjoyed it as much as I did. And I think one of the things is coming away from that day, I now know, and I actually think like Airfix. The way they think about what kit they're going to do, how they design it, how they 3D scan. I know the workings of Airfix now, and even though I know people, you know, somebody said that there may be is it a Messerschmitt 410 in the works, you know, or something like that. But you know, I've come away knowing now this is the reasons why, and that's what I know manufacturers don't do. You don't get things like that from Rebel, Tamiya, Hasegawa, you know. You're getting good stuff, and if they can embrace the YouTube community or the influencer community, as they like to call us, which I found a little bit. That term. Yeah, I do.
Hate that term with a passion.
But we do influence, don't we? If we say,
I suppose. I think influence. I think them idiots on TikTok.
All social media is an influence of some description.
Yeah,
So,
Decent tip,
you know, when they said that, well, when they gave the award to us, actually, that blew me away because it's like, oh, I don't really see myself as that. But
yeah,
yeah,
I
thanks
get
for
that.
tonight, Moss.
No, I enjoyed it. So I paid for it, so I should really use it, don't I?
You said that a few months ago. Last time we did one.
It's £30 a month or $29 a month. I pay for it, and I've just not got around to using it. So, but what I need to do is actually put a monitor on my actual workbenches at the moment, because my workbench is right behind me. The camera's on the workbench, but I'm actually facing my Mac while I'm doing this. I need to get a computer to go up there, but yeah, it's been really good talking to you, lads. And just thank you for joining me on my channel. And obviously, I will link in the description box below all the links to these channels. And I do suggest you go and subscribe and like them. I did a big push for Plastic Alchemist to get to his 500, but really he deserves 2,000 minimum. And
I truly appreciate that, but thank you ever so much.
And Model Officer, I wasn't able to do your group build that week, and you were doing some filming, but because I was already booked in elsewhere doing discos and stuff. So, and Sully, obviously, we need to get you up there. Matt, brilliant model minutes. He's one of the biggest ones, and so we all look up to him anyway. But guys, thank you so much for joining me tonight.
Yeah, cheers, Mars.
Pleasure.
Thank you ever so much, Mars. Much appreciated. And to everyone on the chat, thank you ever so much for joining us.
Yeah, brilliant.
This discussion. Yeah.
And one last thing, we're going to plug this because, as you know, I do zines. The second zine is coming out soon. I'll put a couple of pages up on the screen tonight. I like my zines because I like making my own magazines and stuff. It's something I did when I was a child at school. I used to do my own newsletters, and it's just a bit of fun. That I got 2 more pages to do. One of them is going to be the model shop I'm going to visit next week, and then that will be live. It goes originally to the channel members who want to become a member of the channel. Please, sign up. It does help the channel because I don't pay myself to do this. I actually buy more kits. Every kit I buy is for model review purposes and stuff, and I give away kits as well on the channel. But yeah, the next zine's coming out soon, and it'll be ready for the members will get it first, and then you can then download it and print it off as you please. Hi guys, anyway, thanks all, and I shall speak to you all soon. God bless all. Thank you. Bye
everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you guys.
Bye. Bye.